Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy, Sports and Fitness Rants? I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Got another great video for you guys today, as usual, man. You guys know the deal on this channel, man. We must continue to set the record straight, stop the lies, stop the narratives, stop them from rewriting the history. Put some respect on Michael Jordan. Put some respect on the 80s and the 90s, guys. And in this video, we're going to talk about Michael Jordan and how I was always amazed at Michael Jordan and the adjustments that he was able to make during games. In-game adjustments, Michael Jordan, man. We're going to talk about in this video. This is what made Michael Jordan such a great offensive player. Just a great overall player, right? And so consistent. Once again, was the adjustments that he was able to make, guys. And we're going to talk about in this video. I want to thank you guys, everyone across the world, everyone across the states has been supporting my channel. Once again, guys, I am truly, truly humbled. Thank you to all the true fans out there, guys. For real. All you guys, man. I mean, you guys are all over the place, man. All across the world, man. All across the states. The true basketball fans. The true fans of Michael Jordan. So thank you to you all, guys. Like I said, I'm truly humbled, man. It means a lot, guys. For real. And you guys know what to do. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So, yes, guys, like I said, man, I wanted to talk about Michael Jordan in this video and the adjustments that Michael Jordan made in-game adjustments from Michael Jordan, man. So, you know, what I remember about Michael Jordan growing up, guys, and I've told you guys this many, many times, is that Michael Jordan always had to bring his A game. He had to bring his A game every single night. Now, did he have his A game every single night? No, there were games Michael Jordan was off, right, this and that. But what have I told you? Michael Jordan always found other ways to impact winning. This is what made a lot of the all-time greats so great, is that it wasn't just one-dimensional for them. There was other ways that they can impact winning. Whether it was Michael Jordan scoring or his defense or his leadership, right, galvanizing them, having his team prepared, right? If your teammates are prepared, they're ready, then they can help you. They can pick up the slack from time to time for the star players. This is why Michael Jordan pushed these guys in practice so much, so that they were prepared for the moments. So, yes, there were days when Michael Jordan was off shooting the ball. You know, maybe he didn't have the same level of energy, you know, going on that game. You know, whatever the case may be, Michael Jordan could find other ways to impact winning. It's always been about the winning, guys, not about impacting his stats. It's always been about the winning for Michael Jordan. So when we think about that, it made me think about the adjustments that Michael Jordan would often make during games, in-game adjustments, man. And what am I talking about? When I talk about Michael Jordan having to bring his A game, what I'm speaking to is the idea that when Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls came to town, especially in the 90s, right, when Michael Jordan and the Bulls were dominating, he had a reputation, right? He developed a reputation in the 80s into the 90s, right? Air Jordan. So with that reputation came also what? Responsibility. Because now you guys, the other guys that are coming are testing you. So like I always tell you, Michael Jordan always played against the other team's best perimeter player. It didn't matter who it was. It could have been a point guard, a shooting guard, a small forward, a power forward. Whoever it was, Michael Jordan was going against multiple defenders and going against the team's best defensive players, right? And these guys were bringing it. They knew they had to show up to play Michael Jordan and the Bulls. Remember, I tell you guys, Vernon Maxwell would often talk about losing sleep the night before you played Michael Jordan's Chicago Bulls because you understood Michael Jordan was going to come and bring it. He was that kind of competitor, and you didn't want to get embarrassed. Michael Jordan was known for the trash talk, all these things. But when I told you guys on this channel, I've told you guys what? It wasn't about the name on the back of the jersey for Michael Jordan. It was about the level of competition, respecting that competition, because these guys were going to bring it. The guys like Gerald Wilkins, the John Starkses, right? Some of the lesser known guys, Ron Harper early in those years, Derek McKee, Reggie Miller. These guys were going to bring it, man. They were going to bring the intensity, man. Like I said, they were going to show up. It didn't matter what the name on the back of the jersey said. So when you think about Michael Jordan making adjustments in game, this is what he would do. He would make adjustments from play to play, from quarter to quarter. You go in at halftime, Michael Jordan might have been struggling, and then all of a sudden he comes down the second half and he goes off. And why is this? Because Michael Jordan would figure it out, and he would make the adjustments. He would figure out how teams were guarding him, right? What schemes they were trying to run, where they were trying to force Michael Jordan. This is why the Jordan rules by the Detroit Pistons, like, as much as they talk about the Jordan rules, they weren't really effective. They were effective in the sense that the Bulls couldn't beat the Pistons, but they weren't not able to beat the Pistons because of the Jordan rules. They weren't able to beat the Pistons because the Pistons were just a better team. And that's what we talk about a lot when they speak about Michael Jordan 1-9 without Pippen and all of these things. The facts remain that Michael Jordan was never playing on a team that was comparable to some of the other powerhouses that he was going against. The 86 Bulls comparable to the 86 Celtics, not even close. The 87 Bulls to the 87 Celtics, or the 88 Bulls to the 88 Pistons, or the 89 Bulls to the 89 Pistons. They're not comparable, these teams. We're talking about stacked teams with great veteran players and solid role players going against a young Michael Jordan with really nobody around him that has any kind of experience, right? Guys are still developing. So when we talk about the bad boy Pistons and the Jordan rules, yes, the Jordan rules had a purpose, and they did do something to a degree. But at the same time, Michael Jordan was averaging like 35 points a game going against the Jordan rules. So as effective as they were, that wasn't really the main reason why they were losing. The Bulls were losing because they just weren't as good as these other teams. They needed guys to develop, right? They needed the Scottie Pippens, the Horace Grants to develop. They needed a John Paxson to come along, a B.J. Armstrong, a Bill Cartwright. They needed some players. They had to get some role players, a Craig Hodges, a Cliff Livingston. They had to get some big bodies, a Stacey King, a Will Perdue. They had to fill the roster out around Michael Jordan. Remember, I told you guys, Michael Jordan was leading the Bulls to the playoffs every single season during a rebuild. They were rebuilding the roster around Michael Jordan while he was leading them to the playoffs. It was very impressive. But when we think about the adjustments that Michael Jordan would make, this is why he was so successful against the Jordan rules and the bad boy Pistons. Because as much as they would push Michael Jordan to certain spots where they felt he was not as comfortable, Michael Jordan's overall game, his work ethic, the way that he worked on his game, never really allowed them to shut him down per se. They shut everybody else down. The Pippins, the Brad Sellers, the Charles Oakleys, the Horace Grants, the Dave Corzines, the Bill Cartwrights. They shut those players down. And it was Michael Jordan out there versus a plethora of great players on the Detroit Pistons. But when Michael Jordan goes in at halftime or he goes in after the first quarter, Michael Jordan always made adjustments. He was able to adapt his game and figure out how Joe Williams was guarding him, what the other teams wanted to do. You know, maybe the Cleveland Cavaliers wanted to force Michael Jordan to the baseline here and trap him down there, right? Maybe the New York Knicks wanted to force Michael Jordan here and be physical with Michael Jordan, right? Try to be a bully ball, right? Punish Michael Jordan, make him think about it. Right? So they would send the double teams, right? They would come from the high post. Maybe they'll come from the baseline, try to get the ball out of Michael Jordan's hands. Michael Jordan was a master at this stuff. He understood this is the high IQ of Michael Jordan. He could see what the defenses were doing. He understood the game plans that the coaches were trying to go against him. And Michael Jordan was a master at making adjustments, in-game adjustments on the fly. This is why he was so potent. This is why he was able to lead the league in scoring every single season. Michael Jordan didn't have the stature of a Will Chamberlain, right? Will Chamberlain led the league in scoring 7 years in a row like Michael Jordan did. But look at his stature, 7'2", 7'3", almost 300 pounds. Will Chamberlain was able to use his physical stature, his height, right, to his advantage. Maybe not his size. He couldn't bang guys back in them days like they could later in the NBA's history. But he was able to use his height over the advantage of other guys, right, and score the basket that way. Being tall in basketball helps you, doesn't it? The taller you are, the closer to the rim you are, it makes it easier for you to score. We think about someone like Will Chamberlain. Michael Jordan didn't have that physical dominance, the physical size over the players of his era. So what did he use? He used his athletic ability, his quickness, his speed, right, and his skills, right, and also the adjustments, his mind, his IQ. So Michael Jordan could make these adjustments to stay potent. Right? It wasn't like, oh, 1 year Michael Jordan didn't lead the league in scoring because he was down. Teams were figuring out Michael Jordan. They couldn't figure out Michael Jordan because Michael Jordan was always fluid. He was always moving, making changes, making adjustments. And once again, always working on his game. I heard someone say something that, every time that they saw Michael Jordan, or every year that Michael Jordan came back, from the offseason, he had like a new move, or he had something else that he worked on that was a little bit more crisp. This is Michael Jordan, guys. He had the go-to spots on the court. He had the turnaround fadeaway that you couldn't stop. Michael Jordan was able to move out the basketball. He could move with the ball in his hands. This is what made Michael Jordan so hard to stop and game plan against, because he was not one-dimensional. There was not one thing that he did great on offense. like I told you guys, to me, Michael Jordan is probably the greatest playmaker in the history of the game. When you talk about his ability to move out the basketball, his ability to score with the ball in his hands, his post-up game, his defensive playmaking abilities, to me, the greatest playmaker in the history of the game. He can make plays on both sides of the ball, man, at a high level. This is Michael Jordan, guys. This is part of his game. The adjustments that Michael Jordan made goes to his high IQ, his understanding of the game of basketball. And think about it. When you come in the NBA and you're that potent offensively, right, and every single season teams are coming up with game plans to stop you, they actually came up with a whole set of Jordan rules. No one else has had this. No other guard, no other player of Michael Jordan's stature has had rules like this implemented against him. All of these things, but yet and still, Michael Jordan was able to lead the league in scoring every single season and be successful like this. This goes to Michael Jordan making the adjustments, understanding what the Detroit Pistons were doing to him, right? Where they wanted to force him and working on these things. Things that he thought he wasn't doing as well, weaknesses per se. He worked on those in the off season. He worked on these things in practice. And Michael Jordan would come back the next season and all of a sudden they couldn't force him that way. They couldn't force him to this part or force him to do this. Those things were strengths now. They weren't weaknesses anymore. That goes to Michael Jordan making the adjustments. But he did the same thing in games. If a player was guarding him a certain way in the game, right, they were forcing him a certain way in the game, the team's game plan was this, Michael Jordan could make adjustments to these things in the game, on the fly. And that's what made him so potent, man. You couldn't just stop him like that with a game plan and think it was going to work all game. He was going to make the adjustments. Yeah, sometimes Michael Jordan had to come out the game. Maybe things weren't going right. You know what I'm saying? He had to come down, sit on the bench, look at things, think about things for a minute, and then check back into the game, and he'd have it figured out. This is the grace of Michael Jordan, guys. You don't win 10 scoring titles by accident. People make it seem like Michael Jordan was winning 10 scoring titles just because he was taking all of these shots. Just because you take a lot of shots don't mean you're going to lead the league in scoring. Because once again, taking shots is one thing. You have to make those shots. And that's why I always laugh. People act like Michael Jordan was just chucking up shots and wasn't making them. That goes to the grace of Michael Jordan, the efficiency of Michael Jordan. So not only was Michael Jordan taking the shots, he was making the shots. And once again, we point to the team he played on. Never played with another offensive player. So who else is taking those shots? Michael Jordan had to take those shots. He had no choice but to take those shots. That's the grace of Michael Jordan, guys. That goes to the adjustments that Michael Jordan would make in game to stay consistently successful. It's the consistency, guys, of Michael Jordan that's really unmatched. No one's been able to be as consistent as Michael Jordan. Like I said, leading the league every single year while also playing defense. No one's doing that. No one's doing that, guys. Nobody. Not that many times in a row while winning. While winning, guys, the key. A lot of guys can lead the league in scoring. Some guys are great on defense. But there's not many guys that do it both ways. And there's even fewer players that are able to do it like Michael Jordan on both sides while winning. While winning. Michael Jordan won 6 championships while leading the league in scoring and being one of the best defenders in the league at the same time. Winning championships doing this, guys. Winning MVPs. It's unmatched. It goes to Michael Jordan's greatness, and part of that goes to the adjustments that Michael Jordan was able to make in game. But not just on the offensive side of the ball, the adjustments overall. Michael Jordan, they rarely talk about Michael Jordan's high IQ, guys. They really talk about it. But Michael Jordan is one of the smartest basketball players in the history of the game, guys. The things that he was able to figure out on offense and defense. This is why Michael Jordan was able to play defense at such a high level so consistently. His instincts, guys, I've talked about this before. His instincts are second to none. His timing, all of these things goes to his high IQ, the understanding of the game, what players' tendencies are, what they like to do. You heard Michael Jordan one time break down how he would guard LeBron James. I never even realized that he's watched these things like that. But he broke down LeBron James' tendencies and the things that he knows that he likes to do. And Michael Jordan said, I would guard him this way because he likes to do X, Y, Z. That's Michael Jordan's level, the level of IQ right there. And not only to know this, but also to implement this. It's one thing to be able to see something or to figure it out, but it's another thing for you to be able to go out there and execute this. Michael Jordan had the ability to do these things, right? To see it, make the adjustments, and execute those adjustments. That's Michael Jordan, guys. This is why he's considered the greatest basketball player of all time. He wasn't just an offensive player. He wasn't just a defensive player. He was also a great leader. He was also coachable. And he had the high IQ, the competitive fire. And he had that love of the game. That's why Michael Jordan has respect, man. There have been a lot of great players, guys, in NBA's history that have been able to make adjustments on the fly. Michael Jordan, to me, he was head and shoulders above these players. This is why the man has 2 3-peats. You have to be able to adjust and adapt to things when you're talking about 3-peating multiple times. It's Michael Jordan, guys. You guys know the deal, man. We must continue to put some respect on Michael Jordan. And once again, stop the lies and the narratives. Michael Jordan's ability to make in-game adjustments, to me, is second to none. This goes to his greatness and his high IQ. However, guys were defending him, he was able to adjust and adapt to those things. Right? The guys he was going against, when he was playing his defense, he was able to adjust and adapt. If Michael Jordan was having an off night on the offensive end, he could adjust and adapt to that and find other ways to impact the game. Right? Maybe his jump shot's not folding. Michael Jordan will go to the hole. Right? Maybe he didn't have the offensive game going that well. He focused on the defense. Maybe the Bulls need some help on the boards. Michael Jordan could do that. Remember, he was a utility man for the Bulls. The utility man. Those are the facts, guys. Remember that. I'll catch you guys on the next one.